Welcome guys to another episode of Tier Maker. So if you're wondering why the aspect ratio is so weird, it's because for some reason on this Tier Maker the images are really big. So like when I put one in a row it just makes it bigger. But once they're like all filled up, then this is the right aspect ratio. But yeah, but without any further ado, let's get started with the Class 1A costumes. Some better, some very much worse. So without any further ado, let's get started with Commentaries. I don't like it. It's just like a white shirt and a leather jacket, and it just doesn't look that great. I'll give it D tier. Next up, Kiroshima's. This is pretty good. It looks definitely better when it has the sleeves, but it's kind of basic. Not too much to it. I'll give it B tier. Next up, Bakugo's is pretty good. I like the winter one better, but this one's pretty good. It's less basic than the other ones. It's like has a lot of gear, which I like, so I'll give it A tier. Next up, Shoji's. Actually, no, we can move Kaminari up a little bit. We'll put him in D tier, because that's not a good costume. Next up, very similar one to Kaminari is Ojiro. It's again just a leather jacket, and I'm not a big fan of the leather jacket. It's just not a good look. Next up, Kota. Come on, what are you doing, man? What are you doing? It's not a good look. It's literally a red shirt and yellow. It is not a good look. But it also him being my least favorite one in 1A, because whenever there's a picture of all of 1A, he ruins it. He just ruins it. I hate him so much. He's just so bad. I don't know. I don't like him. But next up, Tokoyami. It's pretty good. Well, okay. Well, I don't know what I was saying with it's pretty good. It's literally just a black shirt and black pants. There's literally nothing else to it. But it's better than these two, I'll tell you that. See, next up we have Sero. I like all the little tape dispenser elements in it. They kind of got a little creative with it. I like it. I'll give it B tier. Next up, Ojiro. It's just white robes. It's nothing to write home about. It's just not too interesting. I'll give it C tier. Next up we have Mina. It's It definitely could be colored better. I think if it was colored better it'd look a lot good, but I'll give it B tier. Next up, Mineta. Man, I don't know what you were thinking when he sat down with a pencil and paper and just said, alright, time to make my hero costume that'll signify me for the rest of my life. I don't know what he was thinking. It's definitely not as bad as this guy's, but I'll give it D tier. It's not a good look. See, next up we have Sato. It's very basic. Not the worst, but it's very basic. I'll give it C tier. Next up we have Momo. I'm sorry, those heels are not doing you any favors. They're not doing you any favors. Just for the heels, I'm giving them F tier. Just for the heels. Why wear heels? Just get actual shoes. I assure you. I promise you. Just get some shoes. Alright, next up we have Todoroki's. It's pretty good. This one's pretty good, but I really like the one where he gets like the metal plating on his arms. It just looks good, and it kind of like reminds me of Deku's like mid gauntlets that he gets, and I really like those. But I like it. I'll give it A tier. See, next up we have Ida. Okay, I get that the full suit of armor looks neat, but he'd be way faster if he just wore like anything else, man. It's really not doing you any favor. It's not going to make you aerodynamic. I'm sorry. It's just, It's just really not. I'm gonna give it... but it still looks good at least. I'll give it B tier. Let's see. Next up, Aoyama. Dazzling. That's all I have to say. Dazzling. I'll give it C tier. But next up we have Sue. It's alright. I'll give it C tier. Next up, Uraraka. And again with the heels. Just no. Heels are not meant to go in a hero costume. They're just not. See, next up, I'm sorry, I'm extremely biased. I'm sorry, I'm extremely biased. He has better costumes, so I'll give it A tier. But, yeah, that'll be it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and goodbye.